We are going to do the midterm review of digital imaging posters. So I'm going to get started. I am recording, and here we go. So this is so close, and I have seen this progress through its iterations. So I hope the iterations go up onto the blog, onto your portfolio blog. And what I'm going to show you is how to pull this a little bit tighter. And then you guys, people who are watching and listening, can post their review of the work, as you can do in YouTube as well. And so I'm just going to do a few things to tighten things up a little bit and to bring attention to, because we're kind of still learning the tools. We got a lot to learn. So let us get started. This composition is so great because the eye travels from the left to the right and back and down. And I have this really clear path of getting to what I really want to know what this is about. So a couple of things we just want to do is I'm going to bring this a little bit more centered, because the thing to remember is, and I don't know if we can see this or not, the guides. I think the guides are only if you turn it on. Let's see here. Show guides or grid. I want grid. Show the grid. Yeah, it should be on top. Would hope so, right? And we got our rulers on. And so you want to align. So the whole grid system is aligning things. So I'm just going to take this line right here because that is down there. Now this could move over a little bit more. So maybe I'll do that. Cancel. Let's see here. So wow. I'm going to duplicate this right away before I do anything to it. Okay. And just turn it off. And I'm going to try to rasterize this, because then I don't have to worry about losing the font. Layer, rasterize, layer. There we go. And then this down here, though, this is different. Okay. So we want to link all of this together. So you see, part of the reasons why I like doing this review, because I do this in class. I'd be sitting with we'd be sitting all together, and we would be doing exactly this. So that's what I'm doing. And so as you can see, I'm linking right here. So that's very important. And you want to link. And so that link, yep, very good. That link should be doing what it should be doing. Now I see what's going, and you see how I bounce that right down to that grid there. And then I need the font, which is movable now. And I'll get it just the way I believe they had it above. And now it's centered. I mean, it's just, now it's a little to the left, to the right, I mean. And then I'm going to highlight the two of these, and Shift does do that, great. And then link those two so that when I move it, the whole thing really moves. Okay, so with the type to be now linked, and I can move this around, you can see it much easier when things are a little bit more organized. Now, the one thing here too is, so if we're following that up, let's keep that all aligned. And really, the only way to do anything when it comes to type and digital imaging pictures or photographs, that you use the grid system. And so on this one, what's great is that, number one, the resolution is really trying to feel like it's fading apart. So we can actually put a transform on that. Just be Control T. Let's get this. It must be here. See, it's not, it's linked to wow, I'm so surprised it's even appearing. In Illustrator, it would not appear. So let me just duplicate this, double click the layer, duplicate, turn it off, and then rasterize that one so we can move it. Rasterize layer, here we go. And now I can do Control T. So when things are not working, it's just because of your selection. What's going on? Okay, so let's get this. You do not need to Shift key, which I always end up doing because you must do that in Illustrator. And so the thing about this is that I'm changing this into another iteration. And it is because the aspect, let me get this down, is not to keep everything the same. So these two very important components, they're very separate. One's a URL, this is the message, but the message is still not easily readable. So that's something that is always an issue when you want to have like this really great color, but there's a contrast, so it makes it harder to read, where you can put a layer on it, a layer style, just to separate it from, and I have to double click the size, of course, that's what it was asking me to do, so I had to double click that. Then come back over to layer style, to outer glow. And I had this before, really very tight, but you can bring it to be very fuzzy, like fun stuff. And you can change the color. So if we took the color that you have, that nice red or yellow, we need to get a little bit more white. Ooh, that's a little bit, I can read it now. Stop climate change before it gets you. That is awesome. So let's take this web color off so we get more colors. There we go. So you see, you can just keep selecting until you get the right colors. A lot of what Photoshop is intuitive. You kind of expect it to be doing these things. So I'm just getting a little bit whiter. And so then you can, I've got the opacity pretty good. So let's see, this brings it out a little bit more. And then this, of course, does all kinds of interesting things, which is a little bit you probably might like. So there again, you know, when you start exploring the tools, you start finding out that there are a lot of different ways of looking, getting results. And that's why you really want to find it, because sometimes the tools don't always do what you want. Wow, that looks pretty amazing. I'm not sure if it's the right color though. Let's make it be something, let's grab the color that you have from the tail. Oh, that does make it look still readable, which is great. It would be great if we had one of these be, we would have to flatten this for this to have a glow around this. So if we kept that, kind of like that. I'll let the consensus, let the class decide upon what they like. And of course, the designer who made this. Okay. All right, so you see the point that I'm getting at. I'm really working with these grids here to center it and so forth. Now, the other thing that happened, which is really cool, and I think I'm going to just check. I'm hoping it is the case. I'm not sure. Is it this one? Yeah. This and this has a really nice blend to it. So there's 3 of them. Nice. And then there is, take that away, and then there's this, and then there's this. So that's it. So again, I'm going to bring this over in here and a little bit more so that it can stand alone by itself too, because this one is clearly going to go over here and clearly nice and big to give them the shout out. You don't need and almost as if, and this is where you really have to play with this stuff, almost as if the sun, I'll just double click this, the sun was coming down and this was a horizon, that something was rising. So this is a little too big. Let's get this down a little bit. There we go. I'm not sure if I like it on the horizon or, because it does have a nice horizon feel. Okay, so then on here, what I wanted to say, and these are just, this is what you really have to play with. This can have a mode on it. Let's get them all on. Why am I missing one? I shouldn't, there it is. Gotta scroll up. So let me get this the way it was. Nice. And get this a little bit more in. And let me shift these three all together so they're linked and move them around until they feel just right. Okay. So, a lot, people have many different ways of working. I'm a very big ballpark kind of person. Now this one, I don't know why it's not on. We shall see. Oh, it is on. And might bring this up. Now the reason why that may have been with this way in the background is it getting to be perspective-wise. So we still can keep that a little bit. Still has that kind of foggy moonish thing, sun-ish thing. And I think a color can be behind there because this is very, really nice and strong geometrically. And I like how the blending is beginning to happen as the lava is taking over. So I would put a white behind here because really the cleanup would be difficult. Let's do that. So if you do Alt, Shift key, Alt in the center and pull out. Now I should be, now if I want to move it, you hover over it until the white arrow, and then you can move that. And you can also move it with the keyboard, don't forget. That's important. Good to know. And then we make a layer, probably behind it. So you want to come down here, make new layer. Now it's going to be behind it. And I'll fill it with white. I could fill it doing it this way, foreground, of course, or I could use the bucket, which is right here. So I could use the bucket too. Okay, so, and it's a layer, so I can move it around all the way to. Okay, so here we are, and we're pretty close, and I don't know what this is here, so let me check this out. I've been seeing this, and it's probably on a layer somewhere, but I don't know what layer. So you can actually click anything in Photoshop, and the layer will pick up. So there's a bunch of stuff, so the thing I want to get rid of is just this. I kind of like it, though. It's one of those things where it's just an oddball being there, but it makes it interesting. And that's kind of what's fun about just happy accidents. This is so strong. I have to ask how they did this. But anyway, let's go back up to here where we have this placed, and hopefully I did it. They can correct it, of course. If this is not correct, let me unlink this. Oops, that's still linked. Unlink it. Nope, still linked. There we go. And unlink. Yeah, now it's unlinked. Okay, and up here, there we go. So this looks so good. So good. Trying to get it back the way it was. Hopefully that's it. Okay, so on here, I really loved finding this layer down here on the outer glow. As you noticed, we changed that and we did purple. We could do, that's an outer glow. We could do a drop shadow. Drop shadows can look like great drop shadows, but they also can be something to brighten something up. So let's see, this is on the stroke itself with the outer glow. So let me just get this to be normal. There we go. And I always like to bring things up, as you've heard me say before, when you're working with these variables, it's really important to, that's the glow that I kind of really like a backlight of some sort. So this is, I don't know, we have a duplication of going on here somewhere. Let me get rid of that. Why is that happening? Oh, I know why, because I turned this on. Right. Yeah, so you can actually change the layer color right here. If you right click, double click the, if you double click right in the thumbnail like this, whoops, don't do that. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Right click, it's right click, and you can turn it to orange. And so then you know it's to be turned off. And the same thing for here. They sort of put that glow in there, but if they wanted that glow, they have it in the background. You can apply the layer, so that's something that the designer can decide upon. But I just want to be able to come here and apply, again, another layer style to sort of, because this is a great message. And so let's go for the drop shadow. And it calls this up. We want it to be normal. We want it to be full. We want it, the light, whoops, we want it to be white. Want it to be glowing. And that's the glow. Bring it back. Yeah. I'm having just so much fun for seeing how well, I always play with these things, but this is the best I've ever seen it on something. And that might not be the best color. There's a nice, let's with the yellow or the red. No, I kind of like the gold and yellow. Or the bright yellow. Yeah, the bright yellow. So there's so many variations to do on this, and this is what I'm going to send this back to choose on that. Gosh, I'm noticing how well this looks, being the same color. I'm thinking if it's going for the orange, I'm kind of working off of here though, because I like the purple, and I also like that yellow that's right here. So that kind of brings that in. So all these tools, when I return this back to the designer, all these tools are going to be there for them, so they can mess with it too and create another iteration. So that's what's important, is there are lots of choices to be made, and of course I have to close this out. So the one thing I was thinking here, because we're in a hotbed of how can I say, in a lava hot situation, you can create something where if you go get, oops, I don't want to go there. If you go to Google, let's do that. If you go to Google and you look for smoke, images, of course, tools, size, large, of course, so that you could pull something like this, secondhand smoke. This is good. And it already has a transparency, which is kind of great. I'm just going to do save image. White smoke, thank you. Goes right down there. Put it to my downloads for now. And come up here, do a open. Remember how the difference between open and place. Open gives you the full size, place forces it to fit the size. So I don't know what size it is. Let's do this again like we always do. 16, good, that's pretty good. 150, that's great. Okay. Is this a ping? I'm hoping this is a ping. We shall soon find out. We'll bring the tab down and then drag it in. Ah. Perfect. I'm going to keep that smoke. That's one of the best things I've seen. No, I don't want to do the changes, so to say no. Never overwrite your source. So here we have a new picture element, which just comes, there's always something that comes in to the picture that sort of kicks it around or makes it another element, which is why it's good to have it be in the context of, I'm going to distort this because in distorting, you do use a shift key. So I'm just going to see what can happen as if this was the fire behind. And yeah, you could do a whole lot or you could do a little less. They can make that final decision. But let's see what happens with this. So it's got a transparency on it. So let's throw the modes on it. Let's see what happens. So I'm just going to do the modes. And sometimes those modes, let's get rid of the grid. Can't really see anything yet. Where am I? Clear guides and get rid of show, don't show grid. There we go. Wow, right? You can hardly see it with the grid on. So that's another important situation. Now, what really just happened is this aspect of we've got to do a what do you call it? Let me do an easy thing, which is we pick this up like this on this layer, of course, or on that layer, and we do a fill content aware and say okay and see what happens, and it should take it away. And it does, but we got a little bit, so we have to blur this a little bit. So let's do first a smudge. Okay, so we will take this down. And what you're trying to do is just get this to be not so different. So you see, I'm sort of just getting it to be whatever. This, so it's not so much of a backline. Wow, right? So this is what collaboration is all about when you're working in a studio. People are contributing and really designing exciting things. This could be one iteration, and when I send this back to the designer, they can make some changes if they want. You know, and all of it is lots of fun things to discover. And this is kind of where we're going with this. So I'm happy that I can do this. I show you more tools. And if you really take the time to just listen to conversations, watch the videos I try to give you to help you to understand. Wow, this ended up just perfect there. So I'm going to send this back, and all of you are going to make a comment on it, coming up with maybe any of your recommendations, or if the designer wants to do something as well, if he wants to add something or take away. But this is kind of the fun part about Photoshop. So anyway, I'm going to end this video and on to the next.